eccentric people. Let's type it. Well, I'm in fact that there's various viewers that are that way, and yet sometimes there's in fact individuals that take things a bit too far that make many of us in fact look bad in society. It in fact makes other individuals fear us, because see, to be eccentric is to say you're gonna be misunderstood, right? And yet for people to walk around with a mask on and say pulling out butcher knives and all the rest, right? With intention possibly to kill people or harm people. And yet it's not Halloween. It's to say, man, you make the rest of us look bad. The mentally sane. People that are eccentric are oftentimes, yes, I already said that, misunderstood. And yet people question the sanity of individuals such as myself and other people, right? Because to deviate and not be the same as societal norms, as in the fitting with all that, is to say, well, you're on the outside, you don't in fact color between the lines, right? And yet I myself really wouldn't be interested at my age to say just walk around with a butcher knife with a ski mask on, or a Scream, the movie Scream, with a mask on like that, and have intention just to be all outdoors trying to poke knives at people with no reason. And not being Halloween, I wouldn't even, the only way I could see doing something like that is a prank, and yet on people that I know personally. Does that make sense? Putting on a mask and possibly having a butcher knife, and yet somebody allowed them to be in on the joke so they know it before, and yet you just randomly not going up to them, even family doing that sort of thing. That's a put off. People can have heart attacks and strokes, boy, let me tell you. But yeah, like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery Channel. ID in the Discovery Channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might want to get those two things and combine them, make them into one. That's a whole process. That's in a whole sentence. And I didn't even breathe all the way through with that. Maybe I should. There goes. So yeah. A man dressed as Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street, he pulled out a shotgun and fired at a party. And yet, I'm going to in fact come back to him later, because this video is in fact about 6 different individuals that did certain things like that, right? Putting on a costume and going to a party and opening fire, that's got to present PTSD in the end. Post-traumatic stress disorder. It just has to. I wouldn't want to be at nobody's party and have that sort of thing occur. But yes, I'm going to speak about that later. But yeah, so during the season, we're currently in a Halloween season, and yet during the season is known for pranksters. That's when all the pranksters start coming out of nowhere. Even sometimes standing outside your house, and you don't even know they're there until you turn around and look. And you're like, is that a man right there just standing? Why is he out? It's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and he just standing there. It gets all bad once you're standing there looking at him from afar in the distance, and then he start running your way. That's got to be the most terrifying thing, knowing you possibly ain't got no cell phone, just enough to call the cops or nothing. I don't like stuff like that. I think I'll pass, right? And yet I like Halloween type of stuff, but I don't like stuff like that. So yeah, the season, that's the time frame we in. More pranksters are gonna start coming out. Sometimes murder come with that sort of thing. Sometimes I question missing children. If many missing children, sometimes, yeah, when it comes to Halloween, the timing and the season with that. Because to know that you're walking and roaming the streets is to say, well, who's nutty and batshit crazy to be doing stuff, right? So yeah, unexpected pranking, I said that. And the mask and all the rest during trick-or-treating, which is why many in fact live fearful to allow people, random people, be standing on their doorstep. There's people right now in 2018 that no longer hand out trick-or-treating candy because what has occurred over the years in relation to the pranking and random men putting on masks, standing outside of their door. And sometimes people, individuals, having surveillance tapes or surveillance video mounted to their house to be able to record, yeah, activity of people walking up on their doorstep and on their right on their porch doing stuff, and they in the house sleep, and yet they pick it up on surveillance later on. Like, what in the hell was that? Standing out a man in a mask. People have stopped giving out candy with that, and I don't blame them, especially when you live close by to the woods and all that, because that's to say hitchhikers and stuff like that. So Investigation Discovery has a new show for you titled Unmasked with the ED. My pronunciation is completely wiped out, as in it's off, right? But in each of my videos I already pre-recorded. I in fact pre-record all of them, right? Who doesn't on YouTube, right? It's a show I even mentioned, that show Unmasked already, right? But I wrote this last week, as in I wrote it ahead of time, as in before even Investigation Discovery put that out there to you, the public. So I'm in fact late with everything. So check that out, Unmasked, right? That's a trademark and I'm standing on it. Hello to you, the viewer. But so the 6 cases involving masked criminals, people that just like to put on a mask and play game with the public, right? So number 1 is oops, my keys is latched on me. Maybe that's a ghost trying to get in my pocket, and yet it's empty, so they're gonna be pissed off, as in be blown off back into the atmosphere. So number 1, an unidentified suspect in the evil clown mask occurred on May 28th, 2018, outside of a Little Caesars pizza shop. Around midnight, the suspect in his evil clown mask creeped around outside the Holly Hill pizza shop and attacked stuff like that. Make me paranoid once I get to talking and I'm like, what's that? It'd be my next door neighbor. So a Filiancho was in fact attacked, age 26, as he was leaving the shop as an employee from that pizza shop. I'm hearing it again. So that's my neighbor, because my mic is turned all the way up, right? I hate that, especially at night, and I'm the only one in this bitch. Be looking around and all that. So the victim. So when it comes to this employee that was in fact attacked, right? The suspect in fact shot the victim in fact shot the attacker, which led to the attacker being taken to the hospital. He died, of course. That just threw my whole stuff. See, I need to get me some padding in my own room where I can't hear none, because stuff be throwing my train of thought off. Let me pause. Because I got keen senses. I can hear next door and all the rest, and I hate that. I can hear various things such as traffic and all the rest. Even in the daytime. So let me rewind back. So around midnight, suspect in his evil clown mask creeped around outside the Holly Hill pizza shop and attacked a victim, right, at age 28. He was leaving the shop. He was in fact an employee. I don't know how I would feel about that sort of thing. I probably would have nightmares for end on end. How would you, the viewer, leave that in a comment section. How would you feel if somebody walked like this individual up above? It, from the movie It, right? Feel that somebody attacks you, and then a gun has to be pulled out to shoot them. That will more likely mess with your mind, as in you wouldn't possibly ever want to be outside at night. The daytime is fine, and I don't know. This all happened around midnight. That's going to put PTSD there. It just has to, right? So the individual in fact died. The attacker, in fact, died, and he needed to, as sad as that sounds, because that's taking a chance. You shouldn't want to do that. Thinking you the bigger person because you got a mask on, and yet you don't know about how the victim is going to entertain that. He might, in fact, stab you to death or shot and kill you, like all has occurred. So the ordeal was, in fact, caught on video. Everything that took place was, in fact, caught on the video. The evil clown made a surprise attack, hitting the employee by swinging a wooden board to pin him to the ground, and then went on to try to stab the employee with some scissors. All that was, in fact, recorded on footage. Creepy thing when stuff like that happen, how the footage be so creepy, especially when it's recorded at night like that. That's enough to give nightmares as well. That victim, in fact, put that clown to death. So that was number 1. Case by case. Number 2, in fact, robbery by ways of a gorilla. How does that sound? That is, in fact, number 2 of creepy crimes in costumes. Piedmont, Alabama. A gorilla. Yeah, not completely, and yet to have a gorilla mind. Let me stop. I was going to say to have a gorilla mindset. A man in a gorilla mask robbed a convenience store at gunpoint. All occurred back in May of 2018. Police were called to Discount Food Mart in Piedmont. Upon the police arrival, a store worker expressed to police an individual male figure walked into the store wearing a gorilla mask, robbing the store at gunpoint. And when it comes to the amount which was taken in funds, such as the cash, it wasn't disclosed. That gorilla mask face figure, in fact, left out of the store on foot. The suspect stands at 5 feet, 10 inches, and his weight is around 200 to 220 pounds. He had on a green sweatshirt and dark shorts. Only one eyewitness saw him run from the store. He was last seen at intersection of Anniston Ave and Calhoun Street. I don't like stuff like that either. How about I just never go outside? Matter of fact, why don't I just build my own cave and just let that be the end of that? Creepy, creepy folks, right? Case number 3 of creepy crimes and costumes. The Freddy Krueger clone. So, yes, in fact, near San Antonio, Texas, if you're asking on the location. At a Halloween celebration, 2 males crashed a party by issuing a horror stunt. They, in fact, did the stunt on attendees at the party. This goes back to my story, yes, in the opening introduction about the lunatic dressed as Freddy Krueger and how he opened fire on the party guests, shooting 1 woman and injuring 4 men. You're gonna crash a party doing that sort of thing, and yet people don't know you like that? That causes mental issues as well. It just has to. Some of these individuals might, in fact, need to get off of drugs with that sort of thing. A lot of times you got college students or fellows that do that type of thing. College roommates sometimes do that sort of thing, right? Do stuff crazy like that. Not all the time. Sometimes it be older males that don't have nothing to do in their free time. So they just figure, let's go spook out some people. Let's end out the boredom by going to spook out some people. Then it all turns dangerous. That's not good. So, number 4 of creepy costumes and crimes. A clown, some woods, and a machete. July 2017, Maine State's police responded to various 911 calls. Maine State Police responded to various calls, yes, more than one call and not just one, that were made to police in a town called Hollis over a creepy clown who was wandering around a wooded roadside waving a machete in a threatening way. Some of the stuff people, I say that. I always say that some of the stuff that people do, the odd behavior. So you're going to be out and you're waving a machete and yet nobody else is out with you. How would that man feel if somebody else walked up to him doing the very same thing, waving a machete? And yet it's two individuals doing the same thing, head to head. That's off the hook. You never know, right? So yeah, a male by the name of Corey Berry, age 31 years old, was the individual that did that sort of thing when it took place. He was drunk, strolling in a black hoodie and evil-faced clown mask, as seen by officers. When he was found doing his crazy acts and all the rest, he claimed in a sense to not know what he was in fact doing because he was so drunk. I wonder if he would have in fact killed somebody. Because to be that intoxicated is to say you don't have feeling. Who knows, right? To be that drunk is to say, with the machete and swinging it. So, okay, so when it comes to this whole fleeing and all this other stuff, how people try to run once they do something wrong, they so intoxicated they don't know their wrong action, and yet they try to flee from police and all the rest. Body organs and, no, not body, stuff can in fact be amputated. I'm trying not to laugh because see, his arm was amputated to begin with, and he in fact duct taped the machete to his arm. Sometimes because you got to be watchful and careful what you say, because there are in fact individuals that are amputees, right? You want to make sure your word stuff right. So and me trying to put it out there is for me to try to say it right, and it takes time to even say that. But the guy, that's why I'm laughing at, because to be an amputee is to say, well, you're amputated, and who does that in their right mind? Take a machete and duct tape it to the amputated body part to go out here swinging it in the night air. Let me leave that alone. So yeah, he tried to in fact flee away from police with that, but police once again caught Barry. He in fact went and ran through a patch full of trees to get away from them. And that to be that drunk is to say, well, what was going on in your mind? As in the why, right? When Barry was asked why was he doing the actions in which he did, he tried to water down his answers by saying he was playing copycat, a copycat prank, and said his ideal came from, yes, him copying other clowns. The pranks and all that. Man, death could have in fact awaited somebody, and possibly even his own. So maybe it was good for police to take him away. Because to be swinging is to say, well, you're in fact putting fear in people. You're inciting fear. Somebody might just shoot your lights out with that. So that was a close call on his end, is all I'm trying to say. So, Scream Mask number 6, Creepy Costumes and Crimes. I said that backwards. I said it in reverse. Number 6, Creepy Costumes and Crimes. Scream Mask in hotels. So a rape. No, that didn't happen. A rape did not in fact happen. Not completely no, but the robbing of things which belongs to others. That can lead to, individual being victimized. So a male figure, big and burly, cloaked in a Scream mask. We all know Scream. I already mentioned it. The movie, right? He robbed some hotels back to back and left out quickly. October 18, 2018, Chicago police in Warrenville, Illinois reported the incident. The suspect targeted Hyatt House. I can hear that again. The suspect targeted Hyatt House Hotel first, and then went for residence and getting away with the cash, and yet the numbers are completely undisclosed. It's not specified how much he in fact stole. He went and robbed 2 hotels back to back and then left with that terror mask on, that Scream mask, right? The suspect's stats includes 230 pounds, He rests at 6 feet tall. He had on a black hoodie, pants, and gloves, as well as black Converse, Chuck Taylor shoes to be specific. Why would I be want to go put on a mask to go? I mean, that's what you do, but clowning to rob? You might as well just go for the ski mask. But maybe people want to be creative. Who knows? Moving on. Creepy costumes and crimes. Are we on to number 6B, or should I just say 7? So on August 30th in Santa Monica, a man in a hoodie. Didn't I just say that? Did I write too much? Possibly so. Because I write so much I don't even know when to stop or end it. Even in complete sentence. Possibly a testimony and statement with that. Let me rewind back in case I missed something. Just to throw all this in and put it all the way in. On August 30th in Santa Monica, a man in a hoodie, cloaked in a screen mask, broke into a Santa Monica home at 6:20 a.m. The situation occurred. The intruder and the homeowner, they in fact wrestled. What is wrong with people? People be taking their chances. Let me leave it alone. They in fact got into a fight, a tussle, and all the rest, which ended with the homeowner being shot by the intruder. His injuries were not fatal, and he lived just enough to recover. The homeowner. And after that all took place, the incident of the intruder, breaking in an individual's house, 6:20 a.m. Who does that? That's quite early, don't you think? After that all played out, everyone within the surrounding area, neighbors included, stood in shock because the neighborhood wasn't used to or known for intruders breaking in. It said the neighborhood is usually quiet and that most people that are seen around the area, as in strolling amongst the area, is usually joggers on foot. But I believe myself that criminals are in fact everywhere. You just don't know that they're there. Criminals are in fact everywhere. I don't care if it's a quiet town. I don't care if it's halfway dim. I don't care what it is. They in fact are there. You just don't know until something like that plays out, in which it did. And that was in fact to, bring the lights up on even where the neighbors public felt that they wasn't around in the area. The criminals, I'm saying. You have to be wide awoke to know that they're there by stuff actually happens, so that you can see that it does in fact exist everywhere. Some people think that crime activity just exists outside a suburban area, and that is in fact not truth. Crime is all everywhere. In suburban area, it's a lot of times kept quiet, which is why many people in the suburbs don't know it's there to begin with. Because sometimes when police are alerted that something done took place, such as a robbery or somebody breaking in, sometimes that stuff be filed away in a cabin on a computer database in relation to the crime. And yet police don't always tell the neighbors that it took place. They just keep it on the hush and a secret, which is why neighbors oftentimes don't know that the criminals are in fact in the environment or living in the environment, or homes are being broken into suburban areas. But crime in hoods are always a lot more known because it's displayed on the news a lot. And yet suburban areas is not all the time. No. The suburbs, a lot of times, even when they do know about crimes, they prefer that information be kept not on the lookout, as in more silent. The silent treatment of toning that down, not letting the public know that crime exists, because that too takes the value down on houses that's out in suburban areas, which is too why it doesn't meet the public eyes on the news. A lot of suburban areas in fact have their own police officers and all the rest. They just hush it down. And yet once again, the hood, they bring all that to the forefront. They let everything be known on the news, right? The unfairness with that, I think all crime should be made publicly known and aware, so that we can all be seen as equal, and yet not everybody agrees. So I think that's all to be said about that. But recommended for you. Shouts out to Paula. Description is right here. Click here to add the favorites. Each one in fact holds a description. Unlocked episodes. I'm not gonna go through each one. I'm just gonna scan through. on last night. There's in fact a key to gain access is to in fact put your provider in so that you can gain access to get in. Unlock series, the same thing. If you want to come back to this, right now, live now is Wives and Knives. That is in fact what is airing right now. I keep listening because I can hear my neighbors. They is loud. ID logo sits up in the left, but right now, live now is in fact, Wives and Knives. Schedule preview. Support the Save the Children's Hurricane Relief Fund. To donate to that is in fact click here. Crime feed news. To click within here is to be directed to the crime feed, crimefeed.com. Once you click within here, you're going to be forwarded on the outside. To receive a newsletter is in fact put your email address in and click next, and you would in fact receive a newsletter. So I think that's all to be said. How would you feel if you, I don't know, I'm scared and terrified to ask the question. Who wants to be robbed by somebody in some terrifying mask with that sort of thing? Doesn't take it off. Just leave me a comment in the comment section and tell me how would you feel if that sort of thing was to play out with you, somebody playing some game like that. That's a complete devastating no-go, because with me, I possibly would shoot them dead, and that would be the end of that. So I think I'm going to end out this video for now. Leave me a comment in the comment section, and I will holla back.